Today we're going to talk about our production grade Fume Extractors portable fume extraction system. The units come standard with a 2 horsepower, 115 volt, 16.5 amp motor. With that being said, you'll notice that the plug that it comes with, that's a plug and play, is a 115 volt, 20 amp plug. So you'll need a 115 volt, 20 amp outlet. You don't want to run anything less than that because you'll possibly pop a breaker in your shop. These also have a manual pulsing. And with the manual pulsing, you'll hook compressed air up to this coupling here. 90 PSI is the max that you want to put in here. There's a holding tank in there. You might damage the holding tank if you go any more than that. And with that being said, before you disconnect your compressed air, there is a drain line here. And this drain line works for all the condensation that builds up inside there. You want to drain that condensation out. It helps the tank last longer and maintains the tank very well. To do that, with your 90 PSI hooked up, you will simply crack open the drain. You'll see water come through here. After that water is clear, then you can close the drain. And that should be all drained. Now you can unhook your compressed air. And as you release this, there is no check valve in there. So it is going to shoot air back at you, so be careful when you do that. But basically this pulse, what it does is it shoots a blast down into the filter and it knocks the dust off. There's 2 different dust trays inside of there. So what you'll do is you'll pulse the unit. It'll take about 10 or 15 minutes, let it sit. And then you're gonna wanna empty your outer dust tray and then your inner dust tray whenever you're not changing the filter. And we do offer these arms. This arm that's shown is an 8-inch diameter, 10-foot long arm. We offer them 2 different diameters. The diameter is a 6-inch and a 8-inch arm. They do come in 7-foot, 10-foot, and 14-foot. So that's all in preference on your options and how you want to do that. At the arm, they usually run about 1100 CFM. Depending on if your filter's clean, also the size of arm is going to matter on that as well. With your outer dust tray, what this outer dust tray does is it collects all your big heavy particles. And whenever you want to change that, like I said, you're going to pulse your unit anyway. So pulse your unit, let it sit about 15 minutes, and then you're going to open up your dust tray. And you're going to slide the unit out. After you get this out, you can discard the dust from inside of here. But before sliding it back in, you're going to want to check this gasket, inspect it, make sure there's no damage on it, so it keeps all the dust out of the atmosphere. After you get it all cleaned out, you're going to slide it back in. You'll lock it, and I always give it a little tug just to make sure it's in place. Then you'll just fold your handle down. Next, we're going to open the door. 2 little cam locks here. Open up your door. Then here, you have your internal baffled dust tray. Whenever you pulse the unit, you want to clean this out daily. So you'll simply, there's a notch in here, you grab, pull up, and slide out. These baffles are removable. You remove those baffles, discard the dust, put the baffles back in, and you'll simply set it back in and slide it in place. You can do all that without having to remove the cartridge filter, which is really nice. You also have your wire mesh pre-filter. To pull this out, you will simply lift up, pull out the bottom, and slide it down. This filter could be washed out with water. Make sure whenever you do that to make sure it's completely dry. You might need to use some compressed air to speed up that process, but it needs to be completely dry before doing so and putting it back in. Put it back in. You'll line up the filter for front and back. Push up, slide in place, bring back down. Next, you're going to replace your cartridge filter. So you will simply loosen up the hand screw for the cam lock, slide the mechanism over, bring each cam lock down. Then you can slide that filter out. And if you want to inspect it, or whenever you're replacing it or whatever, you always want to inspect it to make sure there's no damage to the filter. And then also you want to, before you put it back in there, you want to inspect this gasket to make sure this gasket doesn't have any damage. It keeps a good seal on it. And then you can put your new one in. The way you put your new one in is you're going to pick the filter up, put it on top of the cam locks, and you're going to slide it and push as far back as it'll go. Now that it's all the way pushed back, you'll simply take your cam lock and you'll bring it up on both sides. What that does is it compresses that gasket to the bottom of the unit, and it keeps all the dust and everything in your cartridge filter. Before you close the door, be sure to check your gaskets once again. Your gaskets are an extreme thing for you to keep all that dust out of the atmosphere. You definitely want to do that. Close the door, shut it, and there's 2 cam locks on here. Just lock that shut. We do recommend whenever you get your unit in here, this is a Magna helic gauge. It's for reference only. So what we recommend is whenever you first get the unit, you're going to fire the unit up, turn it on, and then you'll set your green arrow wherever it's reading on the Magna helic gauge. Then you want to go 2 inches up from that, and then you'll set your yellow arrow. The yellow arrow represents you maybe need to pulse the system and clean out your dust trays. And if you pulse the system, it should go down a little bit. When you get to the red arrow, it usually runs 2 inches more than that, so it'll be at like 6 of the inches of water. Once it gets to red, you definitely need to pulse your unit. Also, it might be a time to order a filter or replace the filter. So you're definitely going to want to do that, but I would start with pulsing it. And my recommendation for pulsing these units is 2 to 3 times a day, and let it sit, let it settle. But as you do the Magna helic gauge, if it does not go down after you pulse it on the red, you definitely want to order a filter. I always recommend if it's getting to the red, you're going to want to place an order for that filter. We also offer a HEPA filter on this. In order to put the HEPA filter on top of the unit, you're going to loosen these 12 hand screws, and you're going to take the HEPA plate off, and you'll have your new HEPA filter. You're going to place it up there. You'll have to turn it in place in the right direction. And make sure your arrow for your airflow is aiming up, because that air comes through the machine and comes out the top. After you get that up there, you will take your HEPA frame, set it up top, slide it down. And what you'll do is you'll line all 12 of your holes up, and then you can continue to put your hand screws back in there and tighten them down, and your HEPA filter is now installed. These do come standard with locking swivel front wheels and rigid back wheels. The rigid back wheels do have zerk fittings. The front ones, you're going to want to oil those every once in a while with just some spray grease. And that's what I have today for our Fume Extractors portable. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Fume Extractors.